So in the first 90 seconds, give us the quick synopsis, the background of you, where you were to where you're at today. So go ahead.
Yeah, when I was 24 years old, I got into the real estate business, found a mentor that was really kick-ass. His name's James Willoughby. He was one of the top agents in the city of Austin when I joined him, and I joined him as a buyer's agent. In my first full year with him, I was able to sell 67 homes. That built my base, changed my life completely. And then I went on my own with RE/MAX. I was with them for 7 years, started building a team, moved over to Keller Williams, built the #1 sales team in the world for them for 2 years, 2007, 2008, launched my own brokerage, GOLDWASSER Real Estate. Went through some pretty major challenges in 2009. We had an embezzlement issue. A woman that was our controller was taking money from our accounts, also not paying our payroll taxes. That happened in October of 2009. In January of 2010, due to that, I lost one of my top agents, and then lost about half of my agents, which I had almost 80 agents at the time. She recruited away a lot of those people, and some of them left due to the embezzlement. Then the woman that I was married to decided she didn't want to be married. So that was like a 1, 2, 3 punch in a 6-month period. And I went into a pretty massive depression for about 2 years. Came out of that in 2013, got really healthy, and relaunched a new brand, restarted, if you will, under a new brand called Pure Gold Realty. Now we've got about 25 agents, more of a boutique brokerage. I do about 40 to 50 deals a year personally, and then I run my brokerage, and then I speak and teach. And I just got done writing my next book. It's called Restart. You can order it at chadgoldwasser.com. It'll be ready about April 15th. So that's the quick story, brother.
Cool. I love it, man. So what I love about that story is you went from the top to the bottom, rebuilt it all. And one of the interesting things I've always, like, for me, I'm interested in is when you were at the bottom and you were in that state of depression, how did you trigger out of that? Like, how did you mentally come out of that space? Because I went through divorce this last year, and divorce sucked.
I know you did.
I couldn't imagine the divorce, the embezzlement, losing the company, having it come down. Like, it's like the identity in the whole world crashed down around you. I couldn't imagine the state of depression. How did you snap out of it?
Man, it was tough. It lasted about 2 years. Like I said, 2013, actually it was a note that I received from my son in the end of 2012. He was 9 years old at the time. I had not spoken to his mother for almost a year and a half. We worked together. She was the chief operating officer of my company. And what happened was she came over to the house. He had written me a letter and then decided he didn't want to give it to me. But she gave it to me. She said, "You need to read this." I read it, and basically he was saying it was a plea from him to please repair the relationship that was challenging with my mom. Not get back together, but repair that relationship because he saw it and it was hurting him and it was hurting my family. And that was like a lightning bolt to me. It was like a punch in the gut. That triggered something in me that caused me to get back to the ways that made me successful in the first place, took me to #1 in the world with Keller Williams. And so I restarted and started using a lot of the things that had triggered my success and rise in the beginning: affirmations, mindset exercises, visualization, focused energy, passion. And it just all came back, man. And I'm not saying it's been perfect ever since, but it's been a lot better. And also in 2013, I made a choice to get healthy and really quit the harmful habits that I had created during that depression. So that was huge too.
Awesome. So you guys are watching right now, drop an L if you're live, and if you're watching the replay, drop an R. I'd like to know where you guys are with that. Make sure at the bottom that you turn notifications on and hit that share button. So I recently went through this, Chad, where so I got divorced. It's been about 6 months ago, the first of this month.
Yeah.
And you know, it's like we went through a lot of tension at first, then it eased out. Then the last few weeks we had a lot of tension, and I could see it affecting my daughters. And I did this breathwork session last week. I released a lot of resentment and anger, but I was talking to my friend, I don't know if you know Al Torrey from Miami, Florida. And I was telling him, and he's like, dude, why do you got so much tension? Like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know, man. Like, it's that 6-month mark. And like, you know, I just kind of miss the situation. And like, I miss my family nucleus, right? And I don't agree with everything she's doing. It pisses me off. And he just starts like, he's like, what the fuck, dude? Are we keeping time on the suffering? Like, what are we going to next celebrate the 10-year anniversary of suffering and your divorce? Like, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. So I'd love to hear from you. When you were in that space, you got the letter from your son and you realized I needed to repair that relationship. How did you let go of the anger and the bitterness and the resentment? What were the key steps that you did to just really surrender to that?
Man, it was a lot of work. It was, you know, to truly be honest with you, in 2013, I went to an event. You know, I'm always trying to grow, always trying to get better. And I was working on through a company called NLP. The name of the company is NLP.com. It's a guy named Matt James. And I started learning the NLP stuff. And then I went to an event. I think I might have talked to you while I was at this event. It was either you or Josh Smith. And it was called HUNA. Mm-hmm. And in the HUNA event, there was a releasing process that we went through where we went out basically to the ocean side. We all separated into our own little parties, and we went into a space where we were releasing all anger, all resentment, all the things that were holding us back from actually being happy and living a true positive life. And as you know, my goal is positivity and massively positive energy and incredible attitude. And I wasn't able to live that way when I was holding on to all that resentment. And I still have to go through and release that resentment on a regular basis. And I do that with friends of mine where we sit down and we'll go through a list of some of the resentments that are causing me pain. And it's a really healing process. So that's a little bit about how I did it.
That's cool, man. So I do holotropic breathwork. I don't know if you're familiar with that at all. Basically,
I need to learn about that.
Dude, I'm telling you. So I ran a session last Thursday night, and before I did the session, I had a ton of just built up negative energy. So I did my own breath work about an hour and a half before. It takes pretty much an hour and 5 minutes of just deep breath, right? And it was, for me, that session was the most intense I've ever done, because it was about an hour of just crying and screaming and releasing and forgiving and accepting, and all these things flash through my mind, and I'm able to let the energy go. And I think what's important for you guys watching is to understand it's not about the positive thinking as much as it is the positive flow of energy. Because too often I see people get lost in positive thinking and busy work, but they're really masking over the negative energy stuck inside of them. And and that to me is a continual process we must work on. So let's shift gears, not from the focus on the energy and letting that go, but you had to restart your business. You had to get going.
Yes.
So I want to ask you this question. I want you to pretend you lost everything. It's just Chad. You don't have mojo. You don't have internet leads. You don't even have a database and network. You don't have anything. 90 days to get your business restarted. What are you going to do to start driving revenue into the business?
Number one thing I'm going to do is open houses. I think this is a lost art for people. I still do them. I've been doing this. I've been in this business for 22 years. And open houses I have mastered. I've used systems that allow me to drive traffic through those open houses. Once people are in those open houses, then it's about energy and scripts and dialogues, and then a follow-up system designed to get people from becoming a lead and someone walking through an open house to a client. I do them on Saturdays. I do them on Sundays. I do them from 1 to 4 p.m. Before I go out, this is what I'm supposed to do. But before I go out to do the open house, I will go and I will preview between 10 to 15 homes in that neighborhood to understand what else is going on in that neighborhood. And also just so that when someone walks into that open house, I have knowledge of the market, so that, because those people are probably going to 3, 4, 5, at least open houses that day. So how do I stand out? It's by understanding the market, understanding the numbers. Instead of, in Austin, a typical, traditional, average real estate agent right now, when you ask them about the market, I'm sure you've heard about the market in Austin. What do you think a typical, traditional, average real estate agent says about the market?
I have no idea. That the inventory's low, rates are up, but it's still a great market.
They say, here's what they say. It's hot.
It's hot.
Okay, it's really great. When you can say to somebody, well, currently in Austin, as of Monday, there's 7,441 homes on the market. That's a 4.79% increase over last year at this time. In this particular neighborhood, there's 18 homes on the market with an average price of $750,000. The average days on the market is 45. There are 10 pending sales, and there's been 17 sales in the past 90 days with an average price of $650,000. So that's just a snapshot of what's going on in the market. But when you have numbers like that, which the first part of those are all true, that's what our market is like in Austin. And really, as an agent, when you can come across as much smarter, much more informed, and then add on top of that the positivity and the energy, you're going to totally outshine any other agent that's out there.
So
that's the first thing.
So hold on. Jordan Belfort says number 1 is enthusiastic as hell. Number 2, sharp as a tack, really knowing your stuff. And number 3 is a figure of authority. Speak as if you know what the heck you're talking about.
Yes, absolutely. I agree with all that. The second thing that I would do, if you want one more, it's working with builders to get their move-up business. So I don't know if you've ever done this, but basically what I do is I'll go out and I'll visit all the builder reps at different model homes. I'll go out and ask them if I can go look at all their spec homes that they have. I'll study and learn their market. I'll share information on what's going on in the market, and then I will go back to that model home. I'll ask them if they have anybody that is working their move-up sales, okay? The move-up sales are basically where a buyer walks into that model home and they say, hey, I really want to buy one of your homes, but I have to sell my home first. And you train that builder rep to then say, do you have an agent representing you to sell your home? When they say no, you want to make sure that the first thing to come out of their mouth is, you need to call Chad Goldwasser with Pure Gold Realty, or what I can do is I can get him on the line right now. We can talk to him about getting your home sold. That is a builder move up, and that is how in 2004 I started really working that market, tripled my business, and that's one of the reasons I got to #1 worldwide with Keller Williams. And so those are 2 things that I would do, because you said I couldn't work my SOI and I didn't have a database.
Yeah, well, you don't have one. Would you start creating a database? Would you start building a network and rebuilding your SOI? Immediately.
And you're a people person, I believe. I am a people person. I would get out. I would go to things like Toastmasters. I would go to BNI groups. I would go to anywhere where they allowed me to network and build relationships with people. And that's what I would start doing next. And then I would enter those people. I have a system for following up with networking people that I'm building relationships with. So
you already would have that system in your head because you've already done it. You would just have to rebuild the system is basically what you're saying. And it would be that much quicker.
I'd have to rebuild the network.
Yep. Rebuild the network. But that's what I mean. You have to rebuild the network to put into the system. That's what I meant to say.
Exactly.
So yeah. for you guys watching live, what do you think? Would you guys do open houses in the first 90 days? If you would, put a 1. If you would not, put a 2 in the comments. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say. So these 3 strategies, which is 1 is do open houses, 2 is go visit the model homes and do the move up business, and 3 is start to build your network. How much time and money does that, like, do you spend way more time doing that, or is it way more money to do those activities?
Oh my God, all 3 of those activities are completely free. The only thing that costs you money at an open house is your open house signs. The only thing that costs you money when you're doing builder move-ups is I have a little builder move-up sheet that talks about my home seller's assistance program. And those are 50 cents a piece to create and have printed. The last section is for the network building, and that's lunches, that's taking people out for entertainment, that's building relationships. So very minimal expense to build your business that way. And what I always look for is how can I build my business with the least amount of money possible to create the most profit.
Yeah, I love great book to read, guys, is Profit First if you haven't, because once you make the money, you got to keep the money. That's a huge step. I see too many agents drive in the revenue, but then they end up spending everything on liabilities and the bullshit. And then they don't keep any money. They're not profitable. They can't grow. They can't expand. So of those, let's look at the open houses. In the first 90 days, how many open houses would you try to get done in the first 90 days?
Dude, I would do one every Saturday. If I had no business and I was restarting, when I started my business back in 1998 as a 24-year-old kid, if I didn't have a buyer in my car, I was at an open house Saturday and Sunday, 1 to 5 p.m. That is what I would do. I mean, I would stay there. I'd bring books to read, and I would just drive as much traffic through there as possible. Saturday, Sunday.
What about doing open houses during the week?
You know, I've tried that before. A lot of people try that. You know, it's better. The one thing that you could do is you could ask a builder to sit their model home. Or sometimes a builder rep needs a day off or a couple days off. If they don't have an assistant, ask them to sit their open house. Otherwise, you can do one on your own. I don't personally do that. But again, if you have nothing else going on, your number one job as a realtor, as a real estate agent, is to generate leads. So get out and find the people. So yeah, I would agree with you there that maybe it's a smart thing to go out and do them on a Saturday or a Sunday or
at
a
least
weekday as well.
If you're doing them Saturday and Sunday, spend Wednesday, Thursday, Friday knocking doors in the neighborhood around the open houses, doing the research, getting to see what the heck's going on, activity. Go visit the FSBOs, go visit the expireds in that neighborhood, but get networking. The key is to have conversations. The old way of doing business, it was not what you know, but who you know. You remember that, Chad, the saying in the 80s and 90s, not what you know, who you know. And then it really shifted to not who you know, but who knows you. So you got to make sure people know who you are and then place them in a system that over time, they remember you, they know you, they remembered how sharp as a tack you were, they remember that positive energy that you brought, they remember how you were, that's what they're going to remember the most, is that the presence that you brought to that association. So let's talk about networking now. For the first 90 days, who are you going to go start networking with, and what is your 90-day plan to network?
Like I said before, Toastmasters is a huge area that helped me to not only, I went there because I wanted to become an amazing presenter. I wanted to speak better. I wanted to present to my listings better. I wanted to present to buyers better. But it became a great place for me to talk about real estate, because when Toastmasters is a group, if you don't know, where you go and speak. It's speaking. You do prepared speeches, there's extemporaneous speeches, and then there's evaluations. And what happened was, as I went there and I started speaking about real estate, and everybody in that group knew I was in the real estate business, and it started generating referrals for me. From that, I not only just built relationships, the next thing I would do is I would ask them to lunch, ask them to coffee. Again, build a relationship with them. For me, it's also in the neighborhoods that I live, getting to know your neighbors, getting to know the people around you, and then having a system like right here. Part of my system is my business plan. It's my one sheet. It's my one-page laminated business plan that my goal is to look at it every single day. On there for my SOI, it talks about I am making 20 calls to my sphere of influence per week. I'm writing 10 personal notes per week. I'm going to 1 SOI lunch per week. I am entering 4 new contacts into my database each week. I am taking my SOI out to 4 music events or entertainment events per month. So it's very systematic for me.
On that, how long have you carried that list with you for, or that one sheet? How many years have you had that?
Oh my God. I learned it from a guy named Rick DeLuca, my third year in the business in 2001. I wrote down, he taught me about how to create a one-sheet business plan, and then I took it, I laminated it, and I look at it every single day. I have a copy in my shower, a copy of the above the visor in my car, and it's so I can always look at it. On the back of it, I have my big why. I have my affirmations. You can see right there. There are my affirmations. You know about that because we've talked about that before. So it's been about, I guess that would be 18 years that I've been doing that.
So during that interval where you had that 2-year depression, did you have that one sheet, or was that something you had?
Hell no.
So you realize, listen,
I lost everything, dude. I lost my vision.
So I think there's a couple things that at least I can learn from that. Is number one is if you lose your vision, you can lose everything, right? And so you got to keep focusing. What the flag, I call it the flag on the hill inside my mastermind chat. Hey, listen, gang, we're gonna have a conversation. We're gonna discover what's the flag on the hill, what's the vision, what are you going after? We're gonna create a plan to work towards it. More than likely, during that moving forward, your plan is gonna get fucked up. That's what happens. Is our plans get fucked up along the way.
Tell me if you can hear me okay now, or is it going crazy again?
I can hear you right now. We're good. So
Perfect.
we have the plan that we're going to work towards. Oh, it's going crazy now. It's going crazy again. I can't hear you. It's all echoey.
Okay. My phone. All right, there we go.
Yeah, that's much better.
Sorry, buddy.
That's all right. So we create the flag on the hill. We create the vision that we're working towards, and that's going to get jacked up. It's going to get messed up. Our plan will get fucked up. That's just what happens. But we have to refocus on what is the outcome, what is the vision, and then refocus on what are my next 3 to 5 action plans and focus on that. Repetition, I think, is what I took away from that, Chad. Repetitively feeding those affirmations. Repetitively feeding that I'm going to take my SOI to 4 different music events throughout the month. Repetitively reminding myself I'm going to write the 4 different handwritten thank you cards. Repetitively saying I'm going to talk to this many people. We do that repetitively, and it actually builds it that we automatically do that. My guess is you've been doing it long enough that tomorrow you could probably not look at that and you'd still do that shit. But if you don't look at it for so many days, then you'll stop doing that stuff. That's why it's important.
Oh my God,
doing it every single day. So I do something similar, but what I do with mine is I call it my smart day. So I basically look at that every single day and I say, what are the outcomes I want to create for this day? And what are the emotions anchored to that I want to create? So for example, in the morning, the emotion I want to experience with my morning routine is I want peace and tranquility, because for so many years, I didn't have that. I had the grind and the hustle and the blah, the blah. So I say, okay, what's going to create that peace and tranquility for me? And I do those actionable items. But then I want to crank up the enthusiasm. And how many of you guys want certainty in your business? Certainty you're going to drive revenue in. Certainty you're going to get customers. Certainty that you're going to actually stay in business. Well, then you've got to do the actual items. And that's what Chad's talking about. It's making those 4 handwritten cards. It's contacting those 10 SOIs. It's going out to the 4 music festivals. It's calling FISBOs or expired for 30 to 45 minutes. It's doing the activities that get you into networking and building a network that goes into your system so they don't forget it. Analysis there, Chad? And I just lost Chad. I don't know what happened with Chad, everybody. We just lost Chad from the live version. I think his phone is jacked up. I want to try and get him back on because I want the last segment that we're going to talk about is actually his new book, Restart. How many of you guys would like 7, let me do the number here, 7 steps in order to restart? And this could be because you lost your entire business. This could be maybe because you just have lost your passion. How many of you guys have lost your passion for your business before? How many of you guys just get overwhelmed? This is what I see with a lot of level 3 agents is they have 20 to 40 deals a year. They're making $250,000, but they're overwhelmed with the amount of work. And the reason they got into the business was to create revenue, to create some freedom, to be their own boss, to live a certain lifestyle. Now all of a sudden they become a slave to the business. Maybe you're in that space where you need to restart your passion, your enthusiasm, your excitement. His phone just died, everybody. So Chad is going to not be coming back onto this segment, but we'll get him back for another show. So I want to appreciate you guys for being here. Here's what I need from you guys. Number one is go to chadgoldwasser.com and check out his new book. It launches middle of April. It's Restart. You'll definitely want to check out that book. If you haven't watched my free training, which is called The 5 Levels of a Real Estate Agent, go to www.the5levels.com. That's the number 5levels.com, THE 5levels.com. And then if you want to be at my live mastermind, April 25th through 27th, where we focus on growing your business, increasing your financial freedom, and ultimately living a purposeful life full of passion, excitement, and aliveness and joy, well, go to the WGRmastermind.com. thewgrmastermind.com and apply. We're taking applications now. We'll see you guys later.